and welcome to Motivation for Cultivation, a show devoted to helping viewers learn more about agricultural practices by professionals in the industry. I'm Morgan Lange, an agribusiness major here at Fort Hays State University. Joining me today to discuss agriculture issues is Dr. Ano.
Hi.
Hi. So to start off, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm originally from France. I was born and raised, and I didn't come to the U.S. until I was 21 to do my studies. And then I completed my master's degree in Illinois, my PhD in Arizona, and then my first positions was actually in upstate New York. So I'm recently transplanted here in Kansas at Fort Hays, and I am the current chair for Ag, so I'm really excited.
Yeah. So what courses do you teach in our ag program?
So my background is ag business, and so my specialty in ag business is marketing. So I teach classes that go from entrepreneurship to retail management, sales. I do enjoy leadership as well. And I'm working on a new course where I will be taking the students on international trips to show them ag in a different side of the world. So that's really exciting too.
That's so exciting. So how did you get involved in agriculture?
So I did not grow up on a family farm in France. My parents are from a pretty humble background. We had a little piece of land, and we lived from gardening mostly, and just taking care of our land. So canning the fruits and vegetables from the summer harvest, and just really got me interested in the food part of it. So where do our food come from, and how do you feed the world? That was really kind of my interest originally. Then growing up through high school, I had the opportunity to work for local producers in my area, and in southern France, that means dairy goats and chestnut trees. So very different from the Kansas ag, but nonetheless wonderful experiences, and really kind of discovering the way of life that is ag more than just a field for a job. So I really got into that piece of it, really just interested in that, and continue to study it, and here I am.
So what got you interested in being an agricultural professor?
Well, as I was going through my studies and figuring out, especially again on the food and consumer side, I thought that there is a lot of great knowledge that needs to be communicated. And I very much enjoy the students. I mean, I was in college for 10 years, right? By the time you get masters and PhDs, you're in college for a long time. I figured, why not stay longer and teach? And so I really enjoy the students. I started my own club, which was a marketing club, and we had a competition team, and that piece was the best part of my job. So really kind of mentoring students, and not just the content and the knowledge of the courses is one thing, but also kind of being able to see them from freshman year to senior, and how far they've come and how they can change their view of the world and mature in wonderful ways, and getting them ready to get into active life is really exciting and very rewarding, really, as a professional.
Yeah. So what can someone do with an agribusiness degree?
Okay, I hope you know that answer since you are an agribusiness major, but it's pretty vast, and so agribusiness opens a lot of doors from, if you want to go back on the family farm and do some management, that's great. The agribusiness degree is going to help you with the books and some of the practices, but we also have students that go into the banking industry and end up being loan officers. We have students who end up in sales for ag inputs like fertilizers or seeds. We have students who can go do policy and work with Farm Bureau or in Topeka. Very vast opportunities, and I think ag business is kind of the perfect fit if you are interested in kind of supporting ag without necessarily being into production every day.
Yeah, definitely. So what is your favorite experience in or part of the agriculture industry?
So there's two things, I guess. The favorite part of my job is really seeing my students succeed and getting those really cool jobs after they graduate. The best part of the industry, I think, is the people. It's definitely the type of personalities you encounter, and for best or the worst, right? Sometimes, but we have some great characters, and it's always quite an honor to meet some of those producers out there that are in the fields every day.
Yeah. So, what are the biggest challenges your field faces?
Okay. The weather, I think we cannot say that that's not our biggest challenge right now, especially going through a second year here in Kansas of dry weather is very challenging for producers, and they are kind of hanging on by a thread and wishing for rain at this point. But so weather always. Other challenges, I think, is kind of the growth in population globally. Again, we have to feed the world, and so it's becoming more and more of a challenge when we see the rise in population. So I think, going from kind of a small scale with our particular issues with the weather, which there are other issues with weather, but to a larger scale with the population of the world, there are tough challenges ahead for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think the biggest opportunities in your field are currently?
I see opportunities in terms of the PR and the education and the communications around ag and food. I think there is still a big disconnect between the consumer and the producers. And really, that's an opportunity for us as an industry to kind of open our doors and to say, we are not as bad as you might think we are. And this is what we do, and we love our animals, and we cherish our land. And this is really important to us. And we put every, bit of sweat, tears, and blood, or however you want to say it, into producing those wonderful products for you. There is a little bit of curiosity from the consumers, so this is great. Let's do it. Let's be on social media. Let's invite the public to our farms. This is our opportunity to tell our story, and we don't want anybody else to say it.
Yeah. So, what do you think a hot topic question for your field is currently?
Ooh, hot topic. Again, being recently transplanted to Kansas, I think the meatless part of the food industry is a hot topic or something that's important or interesting to me. Those companies, the Beyond Burger type companies, are developing so much, and they call meat that is synthetic or however lab meat or however you want to call that, made from maybe some more vegetal material. There is attraction with that, and the fact that more and more consumers are going towards either vegetarian or even vegan, gluten-free diets. All of those trends, I guess, could be a help in figuring out how we're going to feed the population tomorrow or in 2050 or 2060. But it's also creating great divide, I think, in our industry. 20 years ago, I would have said, organic versus conventional or GMO versus non-GMO. But I think we have moved beyond that to should we produce food in labs with robots, or is there still something to say about raising animals and cultivating our fields? So I think that's where really the conversation is now.
Yeah. Do you have any predictions regarding the upcoming Farm Bill?
The Farm Bill. I think, or maybe it's just an intuition or maybe a wish. I don't know how you want to say that. But that there should be a big piece of it into conservation. And with, wildfires and again, droughts and more and more the fact that our water resources are becoming scarce, we need to be better and incentivize producers to actually put in place some of those conservation techniques. So I'm watching for that piece in particular. I have no prediction for the rest of it. I'm thinking it's going to hopefully remain pretty much the same, but I'm really hoping for a push on this conservation side.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining
Sure.
us today. And thank you for watching, and join us next time on Tiger Media Network.